MyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? About to say, I was like, it's not going through. Tonight's question. Max Salas, something happened with your keyboard. Did you break it? Tonight's question. What major centralized exchange is exiting the UK and Australia, as well as laying off a good amount of its staff? Kraken, Bybit, Bitstamp, or other? If it's other, drop it in the comments. You know what I'm talking about. Today was an ugly day. I'm not even going to play about it. It was an ugly, ugly, ugly day. Let me see. Put that down, close that. I can close all these things, that's for sure. And refresh the page. Where are we at? Bitcoin is currently at $63,767. So over the past 7 days, it has dropped 23%. Almost, actually, basically call it 24%. Over the past 30 days, it's dropped 31.23%. See, we can't do 60 days, so 30 days is about right. So over 30 days, we've dropped 31.22% on Bitcoin. And obviously crushed the rest of the market as well. I'm interested to see. Yeah, there's Hyperliquid. It's even messed with Hyperliquid, which is amazing. But Hyperliquid is still standing strong. But there's practically nobody else that's green right now. I mean, PAX G is still. It's good for the year. It's decent for the year to date. 8.46 for Tether Gold, 9.12 for PAX G. Nobody's doing well right now. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. The funny part is Axie Infinity is still doing all right, even though over the past 7 days it's dropped 41.22%. How's that for crazy? How's that for crazy? That's insane. I mean, you see some of these numbers that it's dropped from when, you know, as the year to date. I mean, even the 24-hour, just bloody, 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 which is unfortunate. You can point to many things. You can really point to many things that put you in that direction. I still think that what puts us in that direction is shenanigans. And some people are probably sitting there going, what do you mean shenanigans? Shenanigans is manipulation. That's my code word for manipulation. Because things were going well and then all of a sudden they weren't. Right? I think that we started screwing up. Like I said, we started screwing up last April. I gave you guys an assignment to go out and take a look at when we started going down and what happened on that day. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, I know what happened on that day. You might not nail it to the day, so you might have to go 1 day back, 1 day forward, but you'd see exactly what happened. And you could almost tie every time that word was used, major drops, major drops, major drops, and we haven't recovered. So somebody decided that it would be a good idea to drive the markets down, right? And possibly be in a position to get a lot of money and put money back into the markets. Because, of course, at some point, the markets are going to go up. You see how that works? To me, it's just a huge scandal. It's sad. It's makes me angry. But you're looking at things right now play out exactly how you would expect it to play out if somebody was mucking around with, if they were mucking around with the markets, both stock and crypto. Dead serious. Like, you can't miss it. It's bold as day. Tech stocks took a hit, but let me put it to you like this. Tech stocks take a hit, but they're taking a hit in a really bad market and having macro events pile on. So yeah, sooner or later, the bow is going to break, right? Sooner or later, the bow is going to break. Max Salas, have you invested in yourself? Dark horse, have you invested in yourself? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Oh, no, I have no doubt that we're going to come all the way back. That's number one. I have no doubt that we'll hit another new high. No doubt whatsoever. I think my issue is that this is all unnecessary pain. It's self-inflicted pain, and only certain people are going to be able to take advantage of all of this pain. Money's not yours. You're only holding it for a little while, right? Think about that. Hold that in your head. The money's not yours. You're just holding it for the next person. So if money's not yours and you're holding it for the next person, somebody knew. Every time the word was used, somebody knew. And now we don't know how far this investigation is going to go, but there is an official investigation into the financial dealings of World Liberty Financial, as well as that $2 billion, I'm not going to say deal, but usage of USD1, right? They're investigating that as well. Because they're gonna wind up saying exactly what I said. There was no reason to use USD1. None. Absolutely none. So do I think that we're going to wind up going to the 33 level that some people were saying, hey, A-Pause, thank you for letting me know that you invest in yourself. Same for Dark Horse. Max, I think, is having keyboard issues. Because that's something like a baby would write. One of the kids got to your keyboard. All jokes aside, I mean, we're looking at something right now where things are getting exacerbated, right? Because of everything that's going on. What do you do with that? You live with it, you work with it. Not trying to be funny, not trying to be mean, just trying to look at it from a real perspective, right? My man Rick Ritchie in his house. Thanks for letting us know you invested in yourself. Major keyboard issue. Maybe you should be nicer to your keyboard. All right, maybe try that. Just saying. Buy it some flowers or something like that. Rick Ritchie, thanks for letting us know that you invested in yourself. But I was right, wasn't I? 63. I'm happy to be right, but I'm not happy to be right at the same time. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Happy that I was right because I like to be right, but I'm also not happy to be right because there's no reason for any of this. Yes, some of the tech stocks deserve to get hammered, but if you look at how hard they're being hammered, yeah, nah. Like it's just over the top. It's just really over the top. Oh, snap, Max, you know what I just realized? Your keyboard is letting you know that it is expecting a really good Valentine's Day present. I'm just putting that out there for you. Do with that what you will. Oh yeah, big baggers, there will be no call this week. We're going to have to move it to next week because I totally forgot this weekend is Super Bowl weekend. So yeah, just making that announcement again for all those that didn't hear me before. But yeah, this is nuts. This is nuts. I mean, like I said, I get that tech stocks take a hit. But you're talking about certain tech stocks that took a hit because they didn't make enough money. Didn't give a good enough guidance, positive guidance going forward. And I just wonder at what point do we start looking at the street estimates and saying, every time a stock gets hit, you people are wrong. Right? Like, meaning if this stock comes out and it's positive, it's got positive news, but it didn't make the numbers that you thought it should make. Well, how are you thinking about these numbers? You're guessing. They're dealing with facts and you are guessing. And the stock gets punished because your guessing as a group didn't work out right. That's always bothered me. Because you're running just a bunch of financial models. Well, they should do this, they should do that, and the number should be this. And if they're off by 0.1, they get hammered. They get slaughtered in the market. Everything else is great. 0.1 off, they get hammered. I don't think anybody's going to be able to convince me that, yeah, if you have extra money, there's a place to go. No, I don't think anybody's going to be able to convince me that this is what was supposed to happen, or that this is not a self-inflicted wound. To me, I honestly believe that this was done on purpose. Because nothing makes sense. Absolutely nothing makes sense. Look at every time. Look at the past and just see every time we took a hard dive. Did it make sense? Hindsight being 2020, did it make sense? It didn't make sense when it happened. And it doesn't make sense even hindsight being 2020, because no deals came of it. Ran around announcing deals with this country and that country, and the other countries all saying, yeah, no, that's not what we said. Do you not think it's a way for PE to gain more market share? You mean private equity? No. Absolutely not. I think that if private equity does wind up doing that, it's not going to be because they planned on it. It's not going to be because they planned on it. D. Bluey, what's up? Thank you for letting us know you invested in yourself. Not at all. Hutanic, send it down to those. I'm just going to ignore comments that don't mean anything. Doge actually. I haven't looked. That's one that I have not looked at. It does seem pretty solid. It does seem pretty solid, Hutanic. Doge does look pretty solid. I'm just I'm looking at news that we have, right? And I'm just thinking, I'm trying to understand, like, I know you hated to say it. I'm just trying to understand the impacts that happened. Right? Like, so some people think that the tariff rate spiked to 28% in 2025 and that the economy did well. Some people think that. And for some of those people, that would actually be true if it wasn't a K economy. Here's the K, right? Some people are doing well, other people are sliding. The people that are doing well are the ones that had investments and things like that because they're able to have those investments pay off for them. And so they're less worried about day-to-day stuff. Truth be told, do you think this is going to clean up in about a month? Probably. I can see how it could clean up a little bit in a month and start looking a little bit positive. It's not going to shoot up. It's not going to shoot up. It's not going to do that. But I do think we have come down a bit and we're going to go back up like that. We're going to stair step. That's what's going to wind up happening. Right? So to me, that's a big deal. Again, tonight's question: what major centralized exchange is exiting the UK and Australia and laying off staff? And we're going to get into that one. 305 into his house. What's up? Not bad. So I was having a conversation with one of my friends again, and I was just like, he day trades. So he got out of all of his positions today and just took a deep breath because he was getting spanked all day. And he's like, yeah, everything I made this year, he goes, basically right now, I am flat for the year. Flat. I was up. Now I'm not. And he's like, I'm lucky to be flat. He's like, but imagine all that work and you turn around and you have nothing to show for it. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that. Like somebody, I was talking to one of my other friends, Lisa, and she was like, oh, I only went down 0.33%. And I'm like, you sure about that? Are you sure about that? So I think that Hutenic and I have this conversation like all the time, right? He's like, I'm just going to hold on and let it do what it does. And me, on the other hand, I'm like, I see you drop. I'm going to pull out. I'm going to wait for you to finish dropping, and then I'll get back in and have more value. I see your other, thank you, A-Pause. Right? And you go, okay, cool. I get more value when I buy back in. Everything steps up. Takes a longer period of time, but everything starts to go up. Everything starts to look positive. And that's when you can start making your 10% here, 20% there, 10% there. You know what I mean? Because it'll stair step like that and go up. Well, more like it'll go up a little bit, maintain, go up a little bit, maintain, drop a little bit, go up again, maintain. It's going to be that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be that. But I've been saying it since last year. The first 2 times he said tariffs, we were kind of like, oh my gosh, and then it just tanked. But every time after that, I said to you guys, hey, look, listen. And you can go back to the videos and go look at it. I said, guess what? Yeah, every time he says that, we're host. Every time he does that, we're gonna get screwed. The market's gonna tank, and then later on we'll hear about who made money, or somebody made money. That's what we're dealing with. You know, I'm new to investing on 1 year in. I'm learning something new every day. That's what's up. Learn something new every day. Every day. First investment, right there. Nope, we're not having. Nope. Got to delete that because we're not talking politics right now. You know what I mean? We're not. It's not the political statement that we're talking about. We're talking about manipulation of markets specifically. I can't look back and change elections and all that stuff, and I really don't care about it. Right? Don't get me wrong, I care, but I don't care right now. When I'm talking about investing, I don't care about that. I only care about politics that's going to affect our bags. Beyond that, I don't care. Right? I know it's harsh. Don't take it like that. Be focused is what I'm saying. Be focused on what directly affects your bags. And that instability. That instability is what hurts us. Running around the world, picking fights. Why? I hate to say this, and I'm going to be totally straight up. All of these things are happening because he wanted everybody's eyes pointed someplace else. There are ramifications for our actions. There are absolutely ramifications for our actions. And we're destroying relationships that we had already hurt before, and now we're destroying them now. That's a massive problem. Something else that I can see is Scott Bessent or the Treasury said that many people have had their data, their tax data exposed before. There's only one person that's suing for $10 billion. I want you to understand how ludicrous that is. That's more than the farmers got as a group. They got 12, remember? They got 12. He's suing for 10. There will be no negotiation. Taxpayer dollars are going to flow straight into his pocket, while he's already allegedly broken the law with allegedly sending $500 million from the sale of Venezuelan oil to a Qatari bank or a bank in Qatar. Why is that important? It's important because that's going to directly affect our bags. Imagine if all of those other people who had their tax information put out into the world, which it was, just like him, and they all came back and said, we want $10 billion. Where do you get $10 billion from? You're not even worth $10 billion. Where do you get $10 billion from? Where does that number come from? And it won't be negotiated. Where do you get that number from? It won't see the court. It won't see court. Because I believe that if it did see court, that $10 billion would not be $10 billion. You might get a couple of $100,000. Because the ramifications would be, well, if you sue and we cut you that check, there's precedent, and we're going to have to pay everybody else. Now, what happens if you said, well, by putting my number out there, you made me lose opportunities and blah, blah, blah. And they could be realistic opportunities. I mean, I'm a joker, and I would say, well, are those opportunities because you sit in a certain office and you sent your little son-in-law to go negotiate deals for you? I mean, I would say something like that because I'm an idiot. I would also wonder, like, what other deals are there? You can kind of rattle them off. Every time they went someplace, some building is going to have his name slapped on it. You've got $500 million from Venezuela that's going on. You've got this $10 billion lawsuit that's going on. You've got him putting boots on the ground in Nigeria. What else do we have? Hasn't fixed anything with regard to food prices, insurance. You have major carriers in Florida that have just left. You're not doing anything about energy prices. I know everybody in the Northeast right now is looking at their energy bill, because my energy bill didn't go up because I'm using more electricity. No, that's not why it went up. That is not why it went up. It went up because natural gas prices skyrocketed. Why didn't you step in then and say, hey, we're not doing that? The gas is there to be used. Why couldn't you cap that gas price? It's not like you're fighting for gas. It's there. Think about that one. So all prices went up. And I don't mean by a little bit. I mean significantly went up. Significantly. You have a lot of people looking at energy bills right now, their monthly energy bill, and just going, holy crap, I don't even know if I can pay this back. I might have to get on a payment plan. And they're not joking. They're not playing. So economically, we're not doing anything on shore to fix anything. And offshore, we're making all kinds of noise, all kinds of racket, and hurting our name. All the markets are bleeding. These shenanigans, I honestly believe, I'm not saying that it will happen, but I'm saying the chances are increased that it could happen. What? A global recession. A global recession. Right now, miners, Bitcoin miners, they're like, oh yeah, there's nothing we can do right now. Yeah, we're shutting that stuff down. We can't make any money off of this. Yeah. All these treasury companies, everything was riding high. Everything's looking good. Everybody's doing what they do. And what happened? Yeah. They're all taking a beating. Even MicroStrategy is taking a beating. There is no way in the world he's trying to push a universal basic income. There is no way in the world. None. Zero. If UBI comes in this country, that's not how it's going to come. And I know people are sitting there going, why would you say that? Why would you think that? Because he doesn't care about poor people. Our government right now, as it's currently stacked up, does not care about poor people. How much conversation have you heard about UBI? A CBDC? Nobody wants a CBDC, especially anybody involved in stable coins. Nobody wants a CBDC. So that's, I don't think so. On paper, he's down $6 billion. And I know he's had to handle a lot of phone calls. And I know his comeback is, are you serious? Are you talking to me like that? Are you for real? How about you shut up and give me more money so I can buy more Bitcoin? That's what Saylor's doing. He's like, there's no way in the world that you're looking at crypto and saying this is crypto's fault. I actually heard that come out of somebody's mouth, one of the hosts on CNBC. And I was like, there's no way that just came out of your mouth. There's no way. When did everything start going down, buddy? That wasn't because of crypto. You got to be kidding me. And I was like, wow, he needs to go take many seats. Maybe he's been drinking during lunch, something. Somebody slipped some Kahlua into his morning coffee or something like that. Bruh, I know you're playing. How does that work? How does that equate in your head? If they take down strategy, that would cascade 3 circuit breakers daily, indefinitely. No, there are only but so many circuit breakers, and they're not going to take down. They're not going to take it down. Go look up who's invested in strategy. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And frankly, I think the only people that are talking crap are the people that aren't invested in strategy at that level. Go look up who's got strategies back. Saylor is not worried at all. He's not worried at all. Give him a couple of weeks, he'll be the freaking golden boy again. Sorry, the orange boy again. Just saying. Flash sale on BTC, everybody. Yep, that's what it is. I mean, it's not a flash because it's not coming back anytime soon. I mean, it's going to be a little bit. But everybody's going to point to, oh, it's because of the tech stocks. We were going down before the tech stocks started taking hits. So it's not because of the tech stocks, right? How could it be? If the market was already down, I mean, you can't, truth be told, I don't even think that you could say the tech stocks exacerbated the situation. I think the tech stocks that are taking hits, the market was already zooming down, and they wound up having bad news, and they caught that wave going down. But look back in history. Take a look back in history. I know I ask you guys to do this all the time, but take a look back in history. And look at when certain stocks take a hit. Yes, the whole sector can be affected. Not to this level. If you look at history, history doesn't have this tariff nonsense. Does not have this tariff nonsense. So what are you left with? You're left with this having a problem. Right? And so the market takes a dip, a little bit of a dip, maybe even a correction, and it pops right back up in a couple of days. A couple of days. Can't blame the stocks, because you can see when stocks actually took a hit. You can't blame it on crypto because duh. So what happened before then? What tanked the market before then? Exactly. Nothing but scandals, and eventually those scandals catch up. Vanguard Group, Capital International Investors, and BlackRock. You should have led with BlackRock and Vanguard. You could have stopped there. You could have stopped at BlackRock and Vanguard. Done. They're absolutely done. Nobody's going to say anything to Saylor. Nothing. Nothing. Even Vanguard is in the space, allowing their people to sell, crypto ETFs. I bet you right now they're going, damn it, our timing was wrong. I bet you what's really going on is, hey, cut your crap. This is too much of a hit. This is way too much of a hit. You want to know who's sitting on the sidelines, getting their giggle on, sniffing for deals, and might actually just find them? Go look to see if you can find $100 million deal. Or $100 billion deal. 100 million would be nothing. Go see if you can find $100 billion deal. Berkshire's looking for it. Berkshire Hathaway is looking for it. Yeah, because they have that boatload of cash. Because they started getting out before. Somebody sat there and said, he's going to do some dumb-ish. Let's start clocking some dollars. Let's start clocking some dollars. There are a lot of companies out there that are just sitting there doing their thing. And I'm looking at things and I'm kind of going, who's been buying gold? Who's been buying gold? Tether. Tether's been rocking on gold. Everybody's been flipping that amount of purchase, right? Buying, not getting out of American, but not buying as much and buying gold. Some have been dumping. Who? India, Russia, China, but not in huge numbers. Trickle, trickle, trickle. Just a constant trickle of U.S. Treasuries. Constant. The longer it's down, the better chance to accumulate BTC and Ethereum. NFA? I don't know what NFA means. But yeah. Abso-freaking-lutely. What I would be banking on right now, like I'd be looking at things like SUI. I'd be looking at things that are going to X for me. I'm not talking GMB X Factor X. I mean from this point back to where it was when things were good. They're going to X. They're going to X. It's the number of X's. But think about that. If your time frame is after the big print, then it's... Interesting point, Hutanic. Interesting point. Everybody can read that. So ready to be home and under my covers. What if this is the start of a new financial crisis? What do you mean if? A new financial order? For sure. Financial crisis? You kind of are in a financial crisis, right? Because somebody was allowed to manipulate to the extreme. To the extreme. Think about that. Not they didn't manipulate a little bit. Look at all of those times that the market took a dip. Somebody made money. Somebody made money. Big money. Look at all the deals that have happened. Somebody made money. And notice how nobody was calling the drop of those two particular coins a pump and dump. How do you not call that a pump and dump? What's going on, Ham's House? Thank you for letting us know you invest in yourself. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. the GMB3? How many people are sitting there, Ham's house? How many people are sitting there saying to themselves, I'm glad I actually practiced the GMB3 because I could see this. I could see this. As soon as he said tariff the first time, I was like, oh, damn. And I had to make a decision. Do I get out? What was it, last week or the week before last? I said, you know what? We went down. And from this point right here, we could go back up. You can see where I was showing you the chart. You can see how we could go back up. It was a morning show. I'll narrow it down like that. We could go back up. But we really could go back down. And guess what? We went down another leg. Another leg. Jobs being crushed. Being crushed. Right? What, 22,000 jobs last month as per ADP? 22,000 new jobs last month. And a ton of announcements that we're having layoffs. We're having layoffs. We're having layoffs too. That's what's going on. That's literally what's going on. So when I sit back and I look at all this, I kind of sit here and I kind of say, you could see it coming. The script was there. The script was there. I think there are a lot of people that he's receiving phone calls from that are telling him, cut this out or we're going to make your life difficult. Let alone your name being mentioned so many times in the very thing that you didn't want to happen, which is why you started causing all the turmoil to begin with. I honestly believe that's the root cause. That's the root cause. And I think people in government are starting to realize, wow, for certain crimes, there is no statute of limitations. There is so much turmoil going on in the U.S. government right now that it is unstable. From a monetary perspective, from an economic perspective, it is unstable. And that's what's got the world just shaking. Shaking? No, quaking. Yeah. How could it be anything else? How could it possibly be anything else? Tons of news out there. None of it matters. I want you to stop and think about that. Tons of news, normal news, that if you looked at this news, you'd be like, oh, that might be an opportunity because da-da-da-da. None of it matters. The only thing that I'm paying attention to is he going to shut the hell up? Every time the market started coming back up, what happened? It was because he shut the hell up. You literally wiped out everything from over the past year. We're back to back then. How is that good? That's not good. Meanwhile, again, my pet peeve, there are people out there still trying to figure out, how am I going to eat? How am I going to eat? How am I going to get my medication? How am I going to get to work because I don't have insurance anymore because I can't afford to pay for it? So I drive without insurance? Yeah, that would be bad. Energy prices up, food prices up. Oh no, food prices are coming down. No, they're not really coming down. Some things, maybe, perhaps. But have you seen beef prices? Some prices are going up. Big. The only news that I'm paying attention to, I mean, I'm paying attention to all the news. Let's not get it twisted. We pop out articles every day. But the biggest news that we're paying attention to is how do you stop the turmoil? The K is getting huge, isn't it? Remember what I said? The people up here are creating a bigger moat between them and them. A way bigger moat. I said the other day, he got on television, he said, I don't want housing prices to come down. Yeah. I saw an ad. I was on Facebook trying to clear my head, trying to catch up with a couple of friends, and I'm looking at Facebook, and I belong to this group, right? A foodies group. And in the foodies group, one of the foodies was like, oh, I have an apartment for rent. And I was like, I'm just not reading anything in particular. So I look at the apartment. I'm like, wow, it's all right. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. I look at the price. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was reading something wrong. I sent it to somebody and they were like, why the hell are you sending this to me? I was like, look at the price. Don't send that to me again. I might get a heart attack. What the hell? $2,750 for a 1-bedroom. Not even in the city. In the suburbs. In the suburbs. $2,750. I know there are people out there right now that are going, that's my mortgage. That's more than my mortgage. Yeah. I want you to hold this in your head for a minute. You're a young couple. See where this is going? You're a young couple and you're spending about, what, $30,000 a year in cash on rent. Not before tax money, after tax money. You're spending $30,000 a year. That's somebody's salary. Yearly salary, no less. What do you do with that? That K is huge. Now, here's something else for you. So you've got kids that are in college or graduated college. They've been out for a couple of years. They would love to go get their own place. How? Do you know how many of your friends you would need living in that 1-bedroom apartment to be able to afford to have your own place, which is now not your own place? I tell all my kids all the time, don't freaking move. Because here's what happens when you move out. You move out because you decided that you want to adult, as they say. You move out, you incur bills. So even if you move back home, you still have to handle those bills. You rack up bills when you move out. You stay home and you could be racking and stacking your money. You could be investing wisely. That's what you could be doing. Nothing like staying home with your parents. You walk over to the fridge and wow, the little refrigerator light came on. And then it's, wow, there's food. Yeah. So when I look at the news and I look at everything that's going on, I'm looking at all these kids that are about to graduate from college, no jobs. Why not? Well, entry-level jobs are being done by AI and automation. So those internships, I don't need you. Sorry, I don't need you. 2 years ago, I needed you. Now, 2 years later, I'm probably giving you a pink slip because I don't need you anymore. OpenAI went out and hired a whole bunch of Wall Streeters to create, financial models so that it could answer financial model questions better. And so is Grok. Grok is doing the same thing. A lot of them are doing that. So now you're not just talking about entry-level positions, right? You're talking about financial analyst positions. You're talking about 6-figure jobs. People going away. Go watch Margin Call. The guy who figured it out was a financial analyst, a PhD. And that's how he was able to figure it out. And it took him hours, middle of the night, put on his headphones. And then what happened? He woke up and he was like, damn, AI could have done that in 5 minutes. He could have gone, gotten a soda, stopped off, talked to the girl at the freaking receptionist desk, or the guy at the receptionist desk. What's up? How you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Gotten back to his desk and had the answer. That's to drop your jaw. Because what they're not saying is that it's not just the entry-level jobs. It's the experienced entry-level jobs that are getting hit too, because I don't need you. AI is literally doing those calculations, doing those analyses. I don't need you. Those people went to school, got a degree, busted their butts, got degrees, and now they're coming out and they're being told, don't need you. You think it's a joke? Guess what? Anthropic came out with a new tool, and one of the modules they dropped on the legal system. I knew that was coming because there was a company called iCertis that was born from Microsoft SharePoint, and they were taking your documents and making it so that anybody sitting at a desk could hop on and make a legal contract from almost any country in the world. And now I've got attorney in a box. Imagine. Thousands and thousands of contracts that have already been pre-approved by corporate attorneys sitting in a database being fed to AI. I consulted a huge company, a huge medical device company, and they implemented iCertis. Who knows what they did after? Because this is years ago. Who knows what they've done since then? Imagine if they took all those contracts and fed them into a model, an LLM for training. At that moment, it's like, holy moly. From a couple of hundred, I'm down to, what, 10 attorneys? I'm telling you, it's a big deal. Yeah, margin call is no joke. My parents told me investing in Bitcoin was a bad idea in 2018. No, A plus. $2,750 in rent. I'll be standing next to you with my bags. Yo, it's insane. But most people look at certain things and they don't consider everything. I'm sitting here and I'm considering all these kids that are graduating college with all these beautiful degrees and no place to go. Why is that? Getting into places where you would have thought, oh, they're going to be making money for a long time. Almost every professional out there going to have problems. You've got doctors right now performing surgeries long distance. They're moving robotic hands. Do you really think you're that far away from completely robotic surgeries? They can literally see where everything is faster than you can. Precision cuts, better than yours. Not that far away. So when people say, oh, you can't replace a doctor, I sit there and I just go, you're funny. Some crazy stuff. Tonight's question. Oh, people are going to be upset. Tonight's question. What major centralized exchange is exiting the UK and Australia and laying off staff? So, wow. That's crazy. People are not going to be thrilled about this. 25% of the staff is going to get cut. Yo, Ken, what's going on? Thanks for letting us know that you are thanks for letting us know you invested in yourself. I'm going to answer that question. What financial advice would I give myself at 27? Invest, don't save. Invest, don't save. A completely different mindset. Completely different mindset. If I teach you to invest versus saving, you go, oh, well, I can get to that money. That's your thought. It's savings. I can use that when I want to use it. Investing, the mindset is future, down the road, pretend it's not there. My son has money go straight into investing before any of it hits his pocket. My oldest boy. And he acts like he doesn't have it. He's been investing since he was early teens. He's going to be straight. He's going to be straight. Because he just keeps putting money in, doesn't pay attention to anything, just keeps putting money in. He invests, not saves. So at 27, that's what I would tell myself. Invest, don't save. That $10 that you found, that, the other, you want to do this, you want to do that. Don't. Time flies by. Don't do that. Invest, don't save. And back then, it was tougher to invest. You didn't have all the tools that we have now. Still, invest, don't save. Imagine buying Microsoft, Apple, Google. Imagine Amazon. Imagine. And remember, over time, things got easier to invest. Imagine. Just saying, imagine. Let's get to tonight's question because it's gonna hurt some feelings. What major centralized exchange is exiting the UK and Australia and laying off 25% of their staff? Kraken, no. Bybit, no. Good guess though, because they got hit with that $1.5 billion attack last year, right? Bitstamp, no. I put Bitstamp in there because nobody knows about Bitstamp. South Korean, nobody knows about Bitstamp. They might know about it, but nobody's ever touched it. So yeah, of course it's going to be, no, it's not Bitstamp. It's other. Somebody else guessed Binance in the other. No, it's not Binance. I told you a few weeks ago that NASDAQ gave this company $50 million and this company had to implement NASDAQ's technology into their platform. So now that they're hurting, would NASDAQ be able to snatch that up for a sale price? Couldn't happen to a better couple of twins. Gemini. A centralized exchange in the United States, and they're laying off 25% of their staff. Is it an opportunity for NASDAQ to just snatch up Gemini? If I'm NASDAQ, that's exactly what the hell I would do. You lost your mind. That's exactly what I would do. I would snatch up Gemini in a heartbeat. Be like, hey, you guys looking to get out? Y'all guys muffed it. You want to get out? Just hand us the keys and go away. Gemini, I've never been a fan of the Winklevoss twins, ever. Ever. And NASDAQ is in a position where they could do something. Gemini is teensy weensy. Teensy weensy. I knew that Gemini was on the ropes when that whole thing with Genesis and Digital Currency Group went down. The whole thing over their earns, the earns game. I was like, yeah, that's going to be ugly. I think electricians will be the next millionaires. A lot of vocations will be millionaires. A lot. I said it before. Electricians, plumbers, HVAC. Yeah. They could do it. They could absolutely do it. Make big money, right? But they would still need to learn how to invest because it's not going to last forever. But there are so many data centers going up around the country for no reason. But there are still a lot of them going up around the country, and that's going to be a big deal. If you're in New York, you can go upstate and help them build out that Micron facility. Yeah, that Micron. Like I said, there's a lot of news. I didn't cover almost any of the news tonight because the number one thing that should be on our minds: when is the turmoil going to stop? When is the volatility going to stop? When are the self-inflicted wounds going to stop coming? As soon as we got one healed, another one comes. Another one comes. When does that stop? That's when you start to realize, holy moly, we're not all rowing in the right boat in the right direction, in the same direction at least. Massive problem, right? Massive problem. So I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, yeah, there's a lot to pay attention to, right? There's a lot. There are a lot of, things going on at the infrastructure level that we should be interested in. $100 million deal between Tether and Anchorage Digital. We should be paying attention to that. Normally, we would be. Normally, that would be great news. We should be having conversations about Kevin Warsh's bold AI bet. Well, AI is going to take a lot of jobs or, whatever. So that would be a reason to lower interest rates. Did you say take a lot of jobs? We don't seem to be asking ourselves the right questions. Right? We're not asking the right questions. What would be the right questions? They would be something along the lines of, how do we actually bring food prices down? How do we actually bring insurance prices down? How do we get people off the streets, people living on the streets? We're supposed to be the best country in the world, and we have people living on the street. We have people that are still trying to figure out what to have for dinner, how they're going to have dinner. People living in their cars. A car is not an RV. It's not meant to be lived in, but that's what we have in a lot of places. How's that work? How's that work? That's a problem. That's a problem. We've got to solve those problems, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. We've got kids graduating from school. We told them, if you go to school and you get that education, you're going to get a job, you're going to do well, and you'll be able to. Has anybody run that math lately? You're going to graduate from college, you're going to have a 6-figure bill, and you're not going to get a job. That's what these kids are mucking around with right now. Where's their American dream? Where is their American dream? At what point do we actually start having real conversations around UBI, Universal Basic Income? We should not be having all these companies making record profits or profits at all and having layoffs while we have people that can't figure out how they're going to eat, how they're going to get medical coverage. This is insane. It's insane. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community because we're the only ones that actually care about what you got going on up here when it comes to investment. We're trying to teach each other to look at the larger game that's at hand so we can manage our bags and hopefully grow our bags. It's a serious community having serious conversations. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. for the daily. And we'll definitely go through numbers and news tomorrow morning. But it's deep that, right now, Bitcoin is sitting at 65,700. And some of us are going, yay. Just saying. Have a good night, everybody. Sleep tight. Wake up tomorrow ready to invest in yourself. Have a good one. Bye-bye.